Some of the changes coming to the Black Flag remake are honestly crazy. And depending on how you feel about modern AC games, those changes could either make this remake better or completely destroy what made AC4 special. In this video, I'm gonna break down what's changing and whether those changes actually improve the game or make things even worse. Alright, let's get into it. Black Flag is one of the most successful games in the series, and more importantly, it nailed the pirate fantasy. Edward was charismatic, the world felt immersive, and the gameplay was genuinely fun. So when leaks about a Black Flag remake started surfacing, it wasn't really surprising. The first report came from Kotaku back in 2023. A LinkedIn profile later hinted that development began around September that year, and recent leaks have finally given us a clearer picture of what this remake looks like. The remake is titled AC4 Black Flag Resynced, and that name leaked through a PEGI ratings listing, which is usually a strong sign something real is happening. And honestly, I really like it. It's a strong name for a remake. It even feels like something they could build on going forward, like a resync label for future remakes if this does well. And I like they didn't go with something flat or generic like remastered or remake. The name actually fits the series. The goal of any remake should be pretty simple. Stay faithful to the original while updating the experience for modern standards. Because once you start changing too much, you risk losing what made the original special. And this is where Black Flag Resynced already starts to worry me, because one of the biggest changes is also one of the most controversial ones. The modern day sections have been cut completely. The remake will focus entirely on Edward Kenway's pirate story, with more content added on the historical side. In the original, you could step out the Animus and explore the Abstergo offices, slowly piecing together how Edward's story is connected to the wider AC universe. In the remake, those sections will be gone. The entire experience will stay logged in the historical setting. And my reaction to this is mixed. On one hand, the modern day in Black Flag wasn't great. Those first-person office sections were weak, a bit awkward, and definitely hurt the pacing. So cutting them could tighten the experience and let the game focus on what people actually loved: the naval combat, the exploration, the ship upgrades, and Edward's journey. But the modern day has always been the glue holding the AC universe together. Once you remove it completely, the series starts to feel less like AC and more like just another historical action game. And even though Black Flag's modern day wasn't massive, cutting it entirely makes me worry this won't stop here, that future remakes might do the same. I would have preferred if they fixed those sections instead of completely removing them. Now, to be fair, they're not just cutting things, they're also adding new content to make up for it. According to the leaks, there will likely be a new story arc centered around Edward and Mary Read, along with a few other new story missions. This is expected to add a few hours of new historical era content, much of which was originally planned for the first game but never made it in, likely due to time or hardware limitations back then. And this is the part that actually gets me excited. Mary Read was one of the most interesting characters in Black Flag, and giving her a bigger role is exactly the kind of addition a remake should be making. If the writing and pacing are handled properly, these new story sections could easily end up being the strongest part of the remake. The only thing I really don't want here is filler. These missions need to be on par with the rest of the game in terms of quality, with strong character moments and smart mission design. They shouldn't feel like basic fetch quests thrown in just to increase the runtime. And if this new content ends up replacing the clunky modern day sections from the original, then yeah, that's a win in my book. Now, another big shift is the gameplay itself. The remake is moving toward the RPG systems we have seen in more recent AC games. That means gear with stats, loots to collect, a revamped inventory, ability trees, and combat that leans much more into RPG mechanics. Edward will now have gear and loot with stats tied directly into progression, and both combat and progression are being reworked to bring the game closer to Shadows. And this could actually be a good thing. Adding proper progression systems, gear stats, and an ability tree makes the game feel more up to date. The original inventory system feels clunky by today's standards, so some kind of overhaul was honestly needed. And I think Shadows has the best combat out of the RPG era games. It felt smoother, better balanced, and way less grindy than Valhalla or Odyssey. So if Black Flag takes the right parts of that system, the remake could feel fresh. But if enemies turn into damaged sponges, or the game keeps stopping you because your level isn't high enough, like needing a certain level just to raid a fort or board a legendary ship, the pacing is gonna suffer. If the game ends up overloaded with useless loot, a cluttered UI, and forced grinding, the focus shifts away from what made Black Flag special in the first place: the thrill of sailing, boarding ships, and actually feeling like a pirate. Visually, the remake is getting a pretty big upgrade. It's been built on Ubisoft's newer Anvil pipeline engine, the same tech used in AC Shadows, so a noticeable jump in quality is expected. Better lighting, improved water, proper rain and storms, and stronger wind effects could make the world feel way more alive than it did back in 2013. But if they push too hard toward realism, it could clash with Black Flag's slightly stylized look. The original game had a very specific tone, and I really hope they keep that instead of flattening everything into pure photorealism. And as nice as big visual upgrades sound, the basics still matter most. Facial animations and lip sync need to be solid. If character expressions somehow end up worse than original, it could undermine everything else they're improving. There will also be a big quality of life change. No more loading screens when moving between ship and land. Being able to sail straight into a city and dock seamlessly would be a huge improvement because the original game had far too many interruptions. And if they are doing that, I really hope it also applies to things like entering the captain's cabin without another loading screen breaking the flow. As for the map, it's not expected to be bigger, but it is supposed to be denser. That means more stuff packed into each island instead of just stretching the world out. I would much rather explore a smaller map that feel interesting than run across a huge empty map. The only thing I don't want is for every island to turn into another RPG style checklist. The new content should have real variety, not the same task repeated over and over. The project is being led by Ubisoft Singapore, the studio behind Skull and Bones, and the remake will reuse certain assets from that game to keep development costs under control. Asset reuse is not a bad thing. If it allows more time and resources to go into overall polish, it can actually help the game. The issue is execution. If the reused models or animations start feeling obvious, it will come across as lazy. And the last thing this remake needs is side-by-side comparisons showing Black Flag looking identical to Skull and Bones. That would be a really bad look. As for the overall scope, according to leaks, this is not being positioned as a massive from the ground up remake on the level of Resident Evil 2 or Silent Hill 2. It is being described as a faithful reimagining. Well, according to me, not every game needs to be rebuilt from scratch. The risk is a faithful reimagining ends up meaning very small changes under the hood. In that case, there is a real chance some of the original problems stick around. Pacing issues, mission design that does not get updated, or things like too many tailing missions carrying over unchanged. What this remake really needs is smart improvement. Keep what worked, fix what did not, and do not settle for just making the same game look nicer. Finally, let's talk about the release date. According to leaks, the current target is early 2026, with March being the most likely month. That said, nothing is official yet, and there's still a chance it slips further into 2026 if development needs some more time. If March really is the goal, then a reveal in January 2026 would make the most sense, given enough room for a short, focused marketing push. So we could be getting an announcement fairly soon.
Edward! Your constant friendship has been my most treasured find on these seas. Well above gold and silver and rum, I prize the courage you have inspired in me this year. Thank you, sir. A fair good morrow to you.
So what do you think about Black Flag Resynced? No modern day, more RPG systems, new story content, and a new engine. Do you think it still feels like Black Flag, or does it start feeling like a completely different game? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it and subscribe for more AC content.